Hello. How are you doing today?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Good. How are you?
I'm
Welcome.
great.
Um, so we're going to carry on as if this is our regular phone call, but we will introduce for all our viewers ourselves and our podcast, which is going to be called Creative Cousins Podcast. Um, it's going to be a show where we talk about art and photography and all things related to it. I'm sure we will go off on many tangents.
Hope you enjoy that.
Isn't that right, Beth?
Yes, it is. We just thought like we have these, I would say almost weekly conversations, right? Like I feel we call like about
I would
weekly.
say it's an average of weekly, and I feel like
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are
yeah.
some weeks where it's more and some weeks where it's less. But there's definitely been weeks where we've called, like three times
Yeah.
to talk about stuff, to vent, and then to eventually talk about our art, which is always what everything leads back to.
Yeah, it's like the last
Like
thing, but
80%, 80% of our conversations always end up with us talking about art.
pretty
Um,
much, yeah. Yeah, I
and
mean,
it's
yeah.
funny because until I think it was maybe last year, that wasn't the case. And then when I started doing more photography, it really kind of started something. And we've been able to really bounce a lot of ideas off of each other. And I think it's only made both of us better.
Yeah, I mean, they don't. Everyone doesn't know we're cousins. So we grew up together. One of those cousins that like, not one of those cousins that you once maybe saw like once every 5 years, but cousins that you saw constantly growing up.
Yeah, like every couple of weeks for maybe 1 or 2 days or 3 days at a time.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, especially in the summer and things like that, But well, we lived like an hour away from each other, so that hour felt like felt like
it felt like it was like across the country.
yeah, exactly, exactly. When you're younger, it feels like, oh my God, we gotta go an
Yeah.
hour away.
Well, yeah, because you have to have someone else drive you, and then it becomes a whole thing. And
Yeah,
then it was like being in the car on the way to your house was like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to sleep because this is just so long. Like
exactly.
how am I gonna make it? Um,
It is very strange. And now
yeah,
we actually are across the country. So it comes full circle. Because I'm
so
in
true.
California.
Now we're across the country, but we're still able to get together and do creative stuff. And one of the ways we're planning on doing that is on this podcast or through this podcast, because we were already doing this anyways, like we said. Um, it's the best way for us to talk about our ideas, um, to vent, to come up with plans for the future and collaborations that we want to work on. And also just to like you know, get our names out there, to get anyone who's interested in our work to follow along with our journey and maybe inspire some other people along the way who have been thinking about maybe doing something similar, but who don't really know where to start or who want to know more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you want to talk a little bit about how you started your photography? Because I know that was like a vaguely, not vaguely, a kind of new venture, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah. So I am a wedding and portrait photographer, currently living in the greater Boston area. And I only started about a year ago taking this seriously. And before that, and I actually still am a registered nurse, um, and I've been working in the hospital setting and in various settings for about 5 years. And it was something that I did because I like to help people, and I felt like I didn't really know what else I should do. So my dad always said to me that I should do, if I was going to go to college, that I should pick something that should be like stable and that would definitely like get me job security because at the time, like for me, college was sort of financially, um, it was almost unreachable. But we made it happen. And then I got into nursing, and my favorite part about it was the actual helping of people. But along the way, I picked up photography as sort of a hobby, but also as like something that really just helped me. Um, every time that I would do a creative project or go take photos, it was um, like a therapy session kind of. I felt like it was just such a contrast to what I had been doing. But it started out with me just taking pictures of friends and family, taking pictures of random things, taking pictures on vacation. And the more I did it, the more I really liked it. And then when I told Beth that I had been doing it, she introduced me to a photographer, YouTuber. Well, not introduced me, but she showed me
Personally
videos
knew her.
of,
I was like,
she
this is
showed
my
me
cousin.
videos. Yeah. She showed me videos of Irene Rudnick on YouTube, and I was immediately obsessed. I wanted to emulate her. I wanted to do all of those things. So I started doing more of that and started working with like models who were looking to build their portfolio, or with regular people who just needed photos of like their engagement or proposal. So I started trying kind of a little bit of everything to see what I liked. And it didn't really occur to me until last year that I could actually earn a living off of it, um, or that it was something that I personally was going to be able to do. I always thought that something like that was going to be kind of out of my reach. I never saw myself going outside like a regular job to doing this. And it took a while for me to start to have confidence in myself and in my abilities. And I think a lot of it was probably helped along by like having these conversations with Beth. And like I think I, like didn't even really realize it until I'm talking about it right now, is that I feel like if you want to do something and want to be something, the more you hang around people who are doing that or being that, the more you sort of become that. Um, so that's kind of how it started. I really enjoyed taking photos of everyone that I took photos of. And I loved the editing process and just being able to express myself and have sort of an outlet. It didn't really feel like work. And I think that was one thing that really kept drawing me back to it, is that it didn't actually feel like work. And for me, that is crazy because it makes me want to do it all the time. Um,
Yeah.
so you have to be careful with that, because you still need to rest too.
Yeah, the work-life balance,
Sure, we will.
still
Yeah,
important.
it's still important to take rest breaks, even though it doesn't feel like you're working because you're having fun. Um, but yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary of how I got here. Beth has been doing this for a lot longer than I have. She went to school for it, so I'll let her talk about her experience a little bit and what it was like for her to be doing what she's doing now, which is commissions
Yeah, I mean,
and art teaching.
it's a kind of a long story, so I'm gonna try to make this as short as possible. But basically, been doing anything art related since since I can remember, as cliche as that sounds, but it literally is true. Coming
Yeah, for
from
you, it is true.
Yeah, I mean, I've been drawing and it's actually been mostly drawing at the very beginning. Like, I remember just drawing a lot. Like, I remember like drawing on my dad's old sketchbook that I found or something. And I just started drawing like, I used to draw like little like figures, like little like kind of designing clothes, kind of like it would be like a weird like thing where I would draw clothes. I don't know if that comes from my mom who went to school for like fashion or whatever, and she makes her own
Yeah, well, you
clothes.
come from a very artistic family too. And your dad did sculptures, right?
Yeah, my dad, his thing was like sculpture and everything like that. And then he went to construction. And so,
Yeah.
but growing up, he was literally surrounded by people who were artists and everything. And my older brother also was very into art. Went to school for illustration, and he's an oil painter now. And so, I mean, everyone except Isaac, basically. Shout out to Isaac. Does not do anything art related. But besides that, anyway, back to me. I don't know. I'm going on about other people, I guess.
Well,
But
family is important. This is,
I'm like,
this
what
is
am I
how we were
talking?
made.
I'm off.
Um,
I'm getting off topic very easily already. But yeah, I went to school for art. Basically, focused on my focus was on figure drawing because I took a lot of figure drawing classes, especially with like charcoal drawing. I did a lot of charcoal drawing. So charcoal drawing was kind of like my main thing. But I did while in college, like you have to do like all the other courses, like you have to do painting, ceramics, printmaking. Don't talk to me about printmaking. I will not talk about it right now. It was a scarring time. I'm not good at printmaking, but basically all different kinds of art. But yeah, there were a lot of different mini side projects I did growing up that were all like
and
things
some that
that
we did together too.
yeah, so we did together. We did a lot of creating, like anything that you could imagine that we created songs, books for
We
me
made
at
movies
least.
too.
Made movies
We
growing
made
up.
homemade movies.
Yeah, a lot of movies. That was coming from like your dad too. Like your dad like
I know, it is
spearheaded
funny,
that.
right? Like, because my dad also doesn't do anything creative, like for a job, but he was always the one that had
Yeah.
ideas for our home movies.
He loved abduction stories. And you know what? Like those really hit. Like those abduction stories. He had like four different series about people getting kidnapped.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that
And like
sounds
our
that
older
sounds worse
cousins
than
would be like the kidnappers and they would
yeah.
snatch us. Like, and then,
It was all good fun.
yeah, it was so much fun making those movies.
Oh my God, yeah. And we made movies like based off like Charmed. That was just us though. Like we would make our own like without like your dad, like us, me, you, Rochelle, Isaac, just making we made a movie about Charmed, like our version of Charmed. Good times.
Yes, that was
Anyway,
so funny.
so yeah, that was so a lot of different things.
But you did a lot of your own projects too, like
Yeah.
without us even. Like when we weren't there, you were still doing other things.
Constantly. I would. I was joking with Ali earlier because I was like, I want to play Sims because I have to get back into Sims. I played it since I was obviously a little kid with Sims Busting Out, the first Sims game. And we would play Sims Busting Out all the time. That's a different story. I keep getting off topic. Um, but instead of like nowadays and all through my life when I play Sims, I'm like, let me make a story out of this. Let me make a whole scene. I want to make videos out of this. I want to make clothes. Let me make my own clothes in Sims. And it wasn't really, that was the game. It was more, that was the game instead of
Yeah,
actual playing. It's still like that.
it was on another level. And then Rochelle also would do that with you, right?
Oh yeah, because I do voice acting. And I dragged Rochelle into voice acting. I think Rochelle's
Yeah.
good at it.
Rochelle has a lot of potential. We may have her on the show at some point. Rochelle
Yeah.
is my sister. My sister, so also Beth's cousin.
Yeah.
Um,
She's
we
she's
may
younger
we
than
may end up
us, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. She's a radiology tech. But she may end up we may be dragging her to the dark
Yeah,
side
we'll,
soon.
we'll drag her. Don't worry about it. She'll make a special appearance in one of these days.
Yeah.
The elusive cousin.
But um I do want our viewers to know though about like your current like I think you said I
Oh
think
yeah,
we
I
said
can
art
forget.
teaching. But Beth is an art teacher, which is so cool. She just got a new job actually.
Yeah, recently I went
Uh,
from just teaching like elementary to teaching art. So I'm starting it actually. I haven't started yet. I'm starting it next week. But yeah, I was first and second grade teacher for like 2 years, and then now I'm gonna be at just art teacher, and I'm excited about it. But it's going to be definitely different. But the new place is like a bunch of artists and stuff, so it'll be fun to work with like other artists because it's like just a school for art. There's like no other subjects. But yeah, so I'll quickly go over like what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now is mostly a lot of drawing. I'm trying to finish this one drawing that is taking me like 50 years to do. It feels a very long time, and I did not set out for it to be this long, but alas, here we are. Things take longer than you plan. And it's
So true.
starring Ali and Rochelle in it, my muses. I use them all the time. Growing up, I used Rochelle a lot. In college, I like, because we would like hang out a lot more in college. And so I would take a lot of pictures of Rochelle and I would use her as reference pictures a lot. And so, you know, you got to use what you got, basically. If you got someone nearby, you can take a picture of them. And it was fun,
Yeah.
though. It was fun doing it.
Rochelle is a good muse to have because you probably know this. I feel like we've told you this, but
I think I know you're
when
talking
we were
about
really
the
little,
essay.
our our grandfather used to call her the girl with 1,000 faces,
I remember that, yeah.
because she is so expressive. And like I feel like certain moments you look at her, she almost looks like a different person.
It's really subtle. It's like not on
Yeah,
purpose or anything. It's
yeah.
like, yeah.
Um, but yeah, um,
Oh, but
yeah.
yeah,
So that's awesome. We're both actually starting new jobs.
yeah.
Beth is going to be starting that art teacher job, and I'm going to be starting at a wellness spa, which I think for me will be a better work-life balance. That's really what I was looking for because I've been trying to focus more and more on doing photography, and it's been difficult to do that and work in the hospital. So this is the route I'm going to go for now. Yeah, so y'all can catch me giving vitamins, IM injections, IV infusions, and just overall advocating for wellness.
There you go. I mean, you know, you got to do something whilst we're doing our art, you know, gotta have that
Yeah,
other job.
unfortunately,
Yeah, you know, it's okay, but
unfortunately, we need our day jobs for right now. I guess it's not unfortunate. I shouldn't say that, but it's um it's necessary because we still have to pay our bills, right, Beth?
yeah, you know, it's okay though. Oh, I didn't even say I'm from Connecticut, but I moved to California like 2 years ago. So, but
Yeah, so it's funny how that hour
yeah,
drive across Connecticut
yeah,
used to feel
yeah.
like it was across the country, but now you actually are across the country.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we try to keep in touch as much as we can. But yeah, so I mean, I'm liking it over here. It's nice.
Yeah. And the picture that she's talking about drawing is actually a photo of Rochelle and I that was taken while we were visiting Beth in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of good pictures that came out of that trip, and Beth has been working on a couple of them.
I'm using I have a problem like with working on like one project, but I really had to finish this one because it's been something like when you are like working on something, you just have to get it done. Like I'm at the there are different stages of like your work when you're working on something, like a drawing. Like there are stages where like the planning out stage and you're like doing the boring stuff, like sketching it and like making sure everything is like you know proportional, you know, making sure everything's the proportions are right. And you hate that stage. I hate that stage. I hate proportion checking. I hate going with a ruler and going, okay, let me make sure it matches up with the reference picture. It's the worst part. And then like the actual like shading part, like that's the fun part. But right now in the stage I am at that, I am at that shading part and adding detail part, but I'm also at the part of which I am over it with this drawing. I am over it. I do not want to do it anymore and I want to be done with it because it's been like 50 hours. I'm not even kidding you. I've lost count of time. I've been trying to keep track of time with drawings because I am really bad at it. And so I even bought this like this thing is that oh this thing to keep track because I have to have a physical button to mash in order
Is that a
to
timer?
it like keeps track of
Oh, wow. Nice.
time.
That's cool. I want one.
But I'm really bad at even remembering to use it because you think, oh, just keep track on your phone. That will never work for me. I have to have like a physical thing that I literally have to go. That's
It's
why
like
really
the
loud. Just
Staples
to,
"That was easy" button.
yeah, basically,
That was easy.
it needs some kind of motivation and have it like in front of my face, basically. But even then, I'm really bad at
I like
using it.
that.
So I have no idea how long it's taken me.
I should do that because I have just been like estimating my editing time on stuff and charging based on like my estimated editing time. But I'm sure it's actually much longer than what I'm estimating.
Yeah, it probably is because before, whenever like I base it on, I just base it on like, well, how many TV shows did I get through? How many like episodes of the show did I binge through by now? To like figure out. Oh, about seven
That-
episodes into the season. Oh, okay. And I started this season the same time I started this drawing. Okay, so I guess I spent about 7 hours on this so far.
Right.
Yeah, so it's been not very
Oh,
accurate.
yeah. So, what would you say is like the average amount of time? I know it's probably varies drawing to drawing, but if you take like a standard 8 by 10, like what would you say is the average amount of time that you spend on that?
Well, an 8 by 10 is a lot smaller than what I'm doing right now, but an 8 by 10 would be, it depends. If it's like one of my singular portraits, if I just had a portrait of one person, 8 by 10, it really depends. It could be anywhere from like 5 hours to 10 hours, probably.
That's a
It's,
significant amount of time still. I mean,
yeah, but it really depends too. Like, I might be able to, like, it depends how much detail I'm putting into it. And that's kind of similar to like 11 by 14. 11 by 14 is probably around 8 to 10 hours. The the one I'm working on right now is 18 by 24, so it's definitely bigger than that those sizes. And there's a lot of detail. It's a lot of detail, and I'm crazy for picking a picture with so much detail because there's like a whole like
it
you
is.
have the
It's like a
houses.
masterpiece.
I'm like considering it. This may, if it actually looks good, I might consider it a masterpiece.
I am very impressed by what you've shown me so far. So the picture is a picture of my sister and I in front of the Pink Ladies. It's
Yeah.
called the Pink
No, no, no.
Ladies, right?
Painted ladies. Painted
And
ladies.
Painted Ladies,
Yeah.
not yeah, Painted Ladies. So the houses, I, I was really impressed by them because they are so well proportioned. As you said, I know you hate that part, but it doesn't look warped at all, the background. Um, so you
Well,
did a really good job, and
yeah.
it's really detailed.
And honestly, it's like I still feel like I'm halfway through it. I feel like I'm still nowhere near done
I think it's
because like I still have to add so much more detail on the figures, or like you and Rochelle, because I still have to add like right now it's looking really flat still, and so I still have to add a lot more detail. But I'm taking a break from the houses. Good tip for drawing. I've been seeing a lot of this that online that I don't agree with. Where I mean, everyone has like their own thing, okay? Like everyone has their own process. So do you, okay? But I see a lot of people like when they're drawing, they focus on like they'll have like a paper and like it's like a figure or something, and then they spend and it's the whole face of figure. But they spend all of the detail on like one part of the eye, making sure the eye is like 100% perfect before moving on, going on to other parts of the face. And it drives me crazy because it's like, why are you spending all of your time on just one part of the face? Like you should be going all over the face evenly. Because what if you messed up and then you have to erase because the other eye is like, oops, you sketched it off center, and then you made so much detail on this eye, and you got to undo everything. I'm like, really confused by people that do that. They're like, let me focus on one area and then I'll go do that all over again with a different area. But I've always done like you have to like jump around in a drawing. You have to like if you're gonna do like the base layer, do the base layer all over the drawing, then go into like your details and then go in your shading all over it. Because I mean, and I get it, like sometimes it's hard. Like sometimes it's hard to like when you're like really focused on one thing, like you really want to focus on the face or whatever of a drawing and you still have to do the whole background. But then what happens is, and what happened to me with this drawing, is that you feel like you've done absolutely nothing. You're like, when you look, you step back and like, oh, nice, I spent 10 hours on this, sweet. And then you
It must
see
feel so
nothing
defeating.
else change except to one area. You're like, mentally, you're like, what? Like, you just feel like you
Yes.
were going nowhere.
Yes, I actually I
So,
feel the same way when I see photographers who edit like a few photos at a time. And they edit them to completion and then they move on to the next photo. Because that is not how I like to do things either. I like to edit all of them a little bit and then go in and make finer adjustments. But like I will apply like a preset to like all of them at once and then I'll go in and like adjust the preset like on different ones. But yeah, I just could not imagine like doing one and then like exporting it and being done and then like doing the next one because I need to compare them also. I
yeah.
need to like see that like they're similar in style, that the colors look right, the exposures are even across all the images. So I could see how that could be similar.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, and like I said, like everybody has like their process of doing things. Like,
Yeah, everyone's different. Like
yeah,
maybe
right.
this is just how our brains work. But that would also personally drive me nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I did have some professors tell me basically what I just said now. So, I mean, I did like learn part of that in
So
college, but I
it's
think,
not like a that sounds right. It sounds like that's the right
I
way to
mean,
do
but
it
I don't
then.
know. Like people might have a different thing. So, like also in college, I learned that like, oh, like the proper way of doing the face, like, well, not, I should say that, like the order of which you do a face, like you start with the lines and the circle or whatever. When I was younger, I would start drawing the hair first. Like it was like a thing. I always just drew the hair first. But technically, like the proper way of doing it is, you're supposed to just start from like the inside out, basically, or like, you start with sketching out the lines of the face
Right.
first. And I did eventually start doing more like that. But like when I was younger, I was just like, let me start with the hair. Like, let me start with what I'm most comfortable with. So like I said, like people have their own thing. So I understand it. It's just,
Yeah, to me that makes sense because it's kind of like having a lot of tasks to do, like a list of tasks. Like you're gonna obviously want to do the easy and fast one first so that
yeah,
your list is smaller.
yeah. But,
Um,
there's a lot of things that I learned over the years and still a lot to learn. But yeah, I'm like constantly trying to create with,
we're always improving.
yeah.
I think with us in general, I feel like I've seen a big difference in the work that we're putting out now from the work that we were putting out last year. I think
Yeah.
even you said that recently. Like your older brother had mentioned to you, oh, like I actually really like this one, and her older brother is can be quite critical. Um, so
Some might say even mean. Well,
all
like
up to you, Josh. But
with his criticism, like growing up, some of the things were not constructive, I will say. Okay, and he knows that. He knows
yeah,
that there have not been constructive criticism. It's been like that's bad.
yeah. For context, he is also an artist.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. The oil painter brother, not the other brother.
I'm lucky now that Rochelle is also in Massachusetts, um, so we're close together.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm just the one that's out here. So I'm just the one that's away from most people. But it's okay.
Well, we don't mind visiting you in sunny
Yeah,
California.
exactly. I have a nice place to visit. So you might as well
Yeah, it's
take
perfect.
advantage of it, which is what we did with this like last summer when you were here.
Yeah, so last June we went out. We did so much exploring. We were all so exhausted, but it was so fun. And we took, I don't even know how many pictures. I came home with at least like 2,000 pictures,
Yeah, and I used a lot of
like
those
on my
pictures
camera.
for reference. Well, actually, the series that I'm working on, because the one that the drawing that I'm doing, the reason why I want to finish it so bad is because it's part of my like 5-part series of drawings that I did based on the photos that we took in summer last year.
I think that is just so awesome because it was such a good experience. And I feel like we are just like always going to remember like the smaller details because you literally drew them. Um, I don't know. It's just there's something to be said for taking pictures and like making them into like a painting or a drawing because like it puts like more emotion and feeling into it. And like I feel like this is like true as well for like any couples or like people who have like their portraits taken who go to like get them painted. Um, like I just feel like a wedding portrait would like have so much more like meaning behind it as like a drawing or a painting.
Yeah, and I didn't really talk about much about the painting, but what I do basically is I do like digital painting. So I use Adobe Fresco to paint on there, and they use like replicated oil paint brushes. Like they use brushes that are supposed to look like oil paint, are supposed to look like watercolor or whatever. Obviously, nothing's like exactly like the original, but I find it's like a lot of fun to do it that way. And I like the result of what I'm getting when I'm painting on there. And so, like for the wedding portraits, I usually either would do the charcoal drawing or the digital painting. And it is like literally painting with my stylus. It's not like a filter or something like that, you know? So it
Right.
takes a long time. Like there are some things that take 20 plus hours to do, even though you
Right.
think that it would be easy,
Like it's
but
not like an AI program.
yeah, no.
It's not
So
like an AI program that just turns an image into art. It's like it's actually her going in and like putting the details and drawing
yeah.
and painting
Yeah. So I have
with the
like
different tools inside of the app.
yeah, so I have a lot of you know, the time lapses of that of the process of what that looks like and everything. So but yeah.
Yes, you have them on your TikTok and your Instagram, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more active on Instagram than TikTok. TikTok is really hard for me to be active on. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Maybe that's the millennial in me, but it's really
I
it's hard out here. So
think so, for sure. Yeah.
I am gonna make a YouTube channel
Um,
though for
so
longer form things though.
yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
One thing that we've been talking about recently is how difficult it is to make ourselves relax. I know at the beginning I had said it's so easy and so tempting to just spend all of your time doing these projects because it doesn't feel like work. And honestly, once you get into that flow state, it is so relaxing. It's almost like meditation. And a lot of people would say it is meditation actually, because the only thing you're focusing on is doing what you're doing, and you're not, at some point, all of your other thoughts shut off completely. And I think that's kind of one of the things I fell in love with. But that makes it challenging because you can easily forget to take breaks to take care of yourself, to do something else, or to step away because you get in that like hyper focused mode where you could just keep going forever because you're completely content with where you are.
Yeah, I mean, For me, it's similar to that. I just need, like, whenever I'm doing drawing or any kind of anything, honestly, I just need some kind of like background noise. So that's why I would have to like I I can't imagine like just drawing with like no like with silence or anything. I would have to have like even something more than just music, to be honest. Sometimes I just need like a TV show or like a podcast going because like sometimes it becomes so like when I'm drawing and I'm shading, it's like kind of monotonous sometimes. So like I'm like doing the same thing like this.
I was literally about to say that word. Like, that was the word I would have said.
Yeah.
Monotonous.
Yeah. Exactly. So it just sometimes would take like a
Yeah.
lot of time. And so I would need something like entertaining. Not that I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, but I like to just like I like just have that like I'm in the zone, but I'm also like I need at the same time to like have something else going on all the times. But that's just not just
Yeah.
me.
I, for me, it is sometimes that way, but I find a lot of times no, because I just get so excited about it that I like forget to put on the music or the show or whatever it is. I usually do have something else to do though. Like, I usually at least am like sipping tea or like, I don't know, like fidgeting with something maybe. I don't know. But I'm trying to be better about putting on music or something relaxing while I do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just comes from a place of like wanting to do it quickly and not and thinking in my head that it isn't going to take that long. Um,
Oh.
which is never right. It always takes a long time, but in my head sometimes when I sit down for an editing session, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna bang these out. It's not gonna be like, or I'll tell myself I'm only gonna work on it for a half an hour. That it just never happens. I'll say I'm gonna work on it for 30 minutes and 2 hours will go by and I'm still working on it.
Fair
That's
enough.
generally
Yeah.
how it
That
goes.
is basically, yeah. It always takes more time than you expect, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So to wrap up, we thought we would share a funny experience from one of Beth's creations from when she was younger. And Beth, you can take over from here.
yeah. So back in the day, not even that long ago, to be honest, it's probably like 6, 7 years ago. It's not even that long ago, to be honest. When Rochelle and I are, my cousin, her sister, we would we play a lot of Sims together. And we would come up with little like machinimas. Machinima is basically when you have a game that you are making a story out of, sort of. So like you would come up with like the story, like you're talking about any kind of story you want to write out. Okay, it could be anything. It could be music videos. It could be whatever. And we would like make stuff together sometimes. Like we would do voiceover. And then there was one video that we did together of like our two Sims. Like we made Sims that looked kind of like us and we recorded it. And then we had like a little conversation. And it was like a 2 minute long thing. And it was
I'm
about,
laughing because just remembering like watching these in California again.
yeah, and it was about like Vampire Diaries and this hot take we had. And 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 then we recorded it and we edited it and it was like a 2 minute video and we thought it was like the funniest thing we made ever. And then we showed it like years later, 8 years later probably, to Allie. And it was really funny because Allie, what did you
And
think?
I was shocked. I actually was shocked that I hadn't seen it sooner. Like, I had no idea that you guys were even doing that. I didn't know what you guys did when you hung out together, to be honest. I assumed that like you were like talking about boys or like I don't know, like going places or like I don't know. Sometimes you guys went to concerts. I don't know. But I did not expect to be watching like movies made with Sims almost 8 years later.
Yeah.
They're hilarious. They're hilarious.
Yeah, you know, that's what happens when you are just constantly creating, constantly every time. You have to make everything into a creation constantly. It's just the way it is. And it's just satisfying. Okay. It's satisfying to like set
These
up
videos are on YouTube, by the way.
yeah, I'm sure they're not impossible to find, but they don't have that many views. But good luck, I guess, finding them.
There was like, wasn't there like one person who like commented on all of your
That was
videos?
my gaming channel. Okay.
Oh, that's right.
That's a
Okay.
different thing. Okay. I
Yeah,
also
a
had
different thing.
I
There was a
also-
lot of things.
Yeah, there was a lot of
to keep
things.
track of.
Yeah, I did. And, you know, one of these days, maybe I will continue my gaming channel. Okay. One of these days, perhaps. But yeah, I did that for like a long time too, to be honest. I have like almost 1,000 videos on my gaming channel. But that's just the way it works. It's just,
I didn't know there was that many.
I don't even know
Wow.
how many, but there's a lot. I can't remember, to be honest. It's probably not thousands, but it just seems like I think there's like at least a few
Like
hundred.
at least hundreds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hundreds. I don't know how much it is actually. But it feels like a lot because it's because they're really long videos. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
so did that and did a lot of things and
We will be talking about probably some more of these childhood memories as the
Yeah.
episodes come. I'm sure the stories will flow. But we feel like this was a good introduction to ourselves, to our work, and to kind of kick off this series. So thank you for being here, and we're excited to do more of these.
yeah. I am looking forward to talking more about all this stuff and yeah, if you've made it this far,
If you've made it this far, we love you.
yeah. Congratulations.
If you guys have questions or if there's anything art or photography related you would like to know, you can leave it in the comments and we'll do our best to get that information to you.
Yeah.
And if there's anything in particular that you want to hear about on our episodes or anything you want to know, you can also leave that in the comments as well.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you can follow us on TikTok or Instagram to see what we're up to.
We'll just put the links in the description.
Yeah, we'll just throw all the links at the bottom. But wait, we're just so happy to be doing this. So thank you all for being here.
Yeah. Thank you. See you later.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.